Hey, how's it going, folks? Hope everybody's staying happy, healthy, strong, and safe. And I mean it. So, in one of my recent videos, which has been, I think, my best video on terms of views and watch time. Anyways, the video that's the 30-hour toxic fob. The guy that is attacking through a part of that is an old acquaintance of mine named Swifty. However, it is not this Swifty. That Swifty, the one that fobbed, is an American. The other Swifty, this YouTuber, who's a good friend of mine, is from the United Kingdom. So I kind of wanted to clear the air on it that this is not that Swifty. Swifty, the YouTuber, and a good friend of mine who I've griefed with and had some fun with, is a great guy. He makes some good content. And he's great at PvP, and he's a lot of fun to be around. And I'll add a little clip in of Swifty and I having some fun. He's the guy that you'll obviously hear with the British accent, and he's a lot of fun. But if you guys could, because I don't want to damage anyone's channel or anything like that. You know, I want to improve the things that I come around, especially friendships. You know, it's just not in me to want to damage someone's channel. So if you guys could, head on over to Swifty's channel after the video, give him a like, subscribe. It's good content, I promise you that. And he's a good character. So sorry, Swifty, and I hope this helps, brother. But yeah, like I said, stay tuned for a little bit, because we'll have a little bit of PvP with Swifty. They're all kind of older clips. You've probably maybe seen them before, but yeah, guys. Anyways, I hope everybody's doing well and staying safe. Let's get down to the video, and hopefully soon we can get some PvP going on. We've been busy with some other stuff, to say the least, and well, people aren't really fobbing. So if they ain't fobbing and we ain't going out, I can't get the PvP. So yeah, I looked for it and looked for it and looked for it the other day. I just couldn't find it. Unfortunately, I just kept stumbling across bobs and stone huts, because yeah. There's that, which I'd rather help than hurt. But anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Enjoy the video.
Hold on.
Should I try doing that rock run thing again, by the way?
Oh my god, we just comboed him in the head at the same time.
Should I try rocket running again?
Probably a good time, yeah.
Yeah, go.
Hold on. I have to grab a here.
We just did it again, dude. I'm grabbing this kit.
Oh fuck, I just fucking...
You need to get off.
Got him again?
Scope. We are dynamic duo. What the fuck?
What did you guys do?
Just double
I hit him in the head.
Bye.
Oh shit! Go on, Scope!
Yeah, buddy!
Get him!
Oh, you're... Oh,
let's go!
You might have him back there anyways.
Can you mac all over my face?
If you've ever thrown down a bunch of eggs to hatch and completely forgot about them, and they hatched and all died, hit like, hit subscribe, and share the video. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? I hope everybody's staying happy, healthy, safe, and strong. So today we got a little bit of a video about updated breeding tactics, I guess we'll call it. Just makes it sound a little bit more cool, a little bit more official. So two things right off the bat: leave your Deinonychus on mating, and leave your new wyverns from Crystal Isle on mating, because the eggs really pretty much do not decay, and you'll be able to pick them up whenever you want. They'll just be giant piles of eggs there, and the benefits of that is, hey, more eggs for you, and two, you can make the best kibble in the game from the Deinonychus eggs. So that's the only kibble you'll need to make. There's your kibble farm. All you'll have to do after that is just make a bunch of Lazarus chowder and a couple other things, and you'll have that kibble, and you'll have hundreds. So there's that. That's extremely helpful. But let's get down to business. Leave your Deinonychus and new wyverns from Crystal Isle on mating. And yeah, so we're going to show you a couple other things throughout the base really quick. Some breeding piles and how we set up breeding before actually how we breed and how we breed mutations and why we do what we do with the levels we have and the ratios we have. And we're going to make it really freaking basic. A walrus with 10 IQ can figure it out, I'm pretty sure, perhaps. I think I could teach him. So wait for that video because that'll be real interesting. Anyways, so you can see in the many different breeding piles, obviously we have racks and racks and rows of females, and then we've obviously got our male, and you want to have it set up to where when you turn the male on mating, it's impregnating or gestating or, you know, doing the dirty with as many females as absolute possible, and that's just the way it is. And then in a few, I'll go over, like I said, which ones to mate, which ones to breed, la. I'm just trying to show you some breeding piles so you kind of get the idea of what could work for you, etc. And it's obviously open to change and subject to change, you know, as well. If you're a new tribe, don't sit there and spend forever in a day setting up your breeding piles. Just get them out of the way and breed. You know, you don't need to be wasting too much time on this. However, we've got a lot of time to waste, so we can set up pretty little breeding piles that unfortunately just shifted when the servers went down. So yeah, there's that. They were a lot prettier 2 days ago, and it kind of stinks that they shifted, but whatevs. Stuff happens. We got marked, and yeah. So, and then I'm also going to show you the hatching area and how to set that up. So stay tuned. If you like the video, hit subscribe, share, and like, and throw a comment. That would be awesome. Hope you guys are doing well. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, stay strong. Cheers. All right, cut the music, cut the BS. Let's get down to business. Let's go. No more jaw-jacking about irrelevant malarkey, okay? If you don't know what that means, well, neither do I. Anyways, all right, so you've seen we've got a good hatching area, obviously, which is key. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of, you know, not hatching very efficiently. And then we've got a good feeding area, which is key, because otherwise, well, what you hatch will die. So those are two things that you got to have set up right. I do recommend a lot of tech troughs, and if you can't suffice with those, then utilize things like cooked meat. Those will work well and decay less in the wooden troughs, so there's that. And you could also put all of your berries into wooden troughs as well. They won't decay super quick. It'll be okay. But ideally, you've got your tech troughs, obviously. And the number one piece of meat to feed is obviously simply raw meat, and the number one berry to feed is obviously mayho berry. So there's that, the purple berry. There's no argument there. Those are the best. Well, you could sit there and cook the meat, the raw meat, and put it in the trough that way, but that's going to take forever and a day, and it's just not necessary. So with hatching, you are going to need a lot of air conditioners underneath your floor or stuck in your foundation. And there's build guides for that where you can check that stuff up. So we're going to go ahead and skip and bypass that. Let's actually work on specifically the mating and trying to get mutations. Now, there's a reason why you'll hear people say, I'm looking for a level 500. And ideally, that is what you want to breed with. However, you can still get tons of mutations without that, as long as the ratio on the patrilineal and matrilineal side are under 20. If it goes over, you're not going to really see mutations. So don't let it go over, and you can also kind of clean one of the sides. It's difficult, but let's not even worry about that. What you are ideally trying to get is all stats to match onto a male. Once they're on a male, you can spread it to the females very easily, even if they have garbage stats. It just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, a little bit of practice, and well, lots of love. All right, so let's head on over to the Calicotherium, and I'll show you them real quick. Actually, hold on. Wait a second. Norkley has done it again. Nork. This is amazing. I don't know why it's amazing, but it's amazing. I feel like I'm getting married and oh no, not that. No, never mind. I don't know. This is cool though. Yeah, it's definitely a cool little breeding racky to set up for the baryonyx, and they're pretty useful in water to defend your base. I'll say that. Definitely a unique tame, to say the least. Not top priority, but pretty unique. Kind of like the Calicotherium. Anyways, let's check these out. So, look at this inventory. You're going to see down at the bottom, there'll be show ancestry. And from here, you can see on the left side, matrilineal, right side, patrilineal. And there's two ratios that are by those. And these next three that I touch, they will be all basically the same. One side is lower than 20, meaning it is still open to be it's not a full ratio. So whether it be 1 through 19/20, that's not full, right? Because a full ratio would be 20 over 20, or something above. So if it is anything under 20, that's good, because you can still roll a mutation on that. Now, on these other ones, these fresh tames, you can obviously see show ancestry. It shows nothing. There's no mutations. There's nothing there. In a moment, I'm going to show you a one that is less than 20, which would mean that I can get lots of mutations. But fear not, if the male is super dirty, it doesn't really matter too much. As long as the female is clean, you have a chance, and a good chance, for mutation. Now check this one out. As you can see, left side is 4 of 20, right side is 5 of 20. On the top of the screen, you'll see random mutations. So you kind of want to somewhat track those numbers a little bit and see what the mutation that you're getting. So watch the statistics and the stats of the dinos that are popping out. If you get a silly mutations like an oxygen stat, you likely probably want to kill it, depending on what it is. And you can check those things on a program called Ark Smart Breeder, which I do recommend, but it is not top priority. Now, we'll hop on over here. I'll link that as well. We'll hop on over here to the velonosaur, which Nork is currently setting up again. We're redoing a lot of our breeding piles and moving things around. We don't have everything out in oil. But with the velonosaur, you can see that they are named differently. So I like to know my line very well in and out. Not saying that he doesn't, but I name my line my statistics. So there is that. With that done like that, you know right off the top of reading the dinosaur's name that, hey, look, this sucker's got 5.6k health, and the next stat I'm seeing is, let's say, 1720 stamina, and that's the next number we're seeing, and then it shows 396. Well, obviously that 396 is going to be most likely melee, right? So I like to name my dinosaurs specifically those stats. And there's some other things to keep in mind as well. And Smart Breeder, he really doesn't have to name his dinos the stats. He knows if he names it FEM or F001, And F002, he is designating those two as number 1 breeder, number 2 breeder, female, etc. La all the way up the clock. The problem is if you raid someone, right, and you get all their tames, you may not know their stats. If they leveled the dinosaurs, if they imprinted the dinosaurs, or if they named them something like Fem001. So to each their own on that. Both work. I would use Smart Breeder. It is helpful, but if this is a line that you specifically started and you're working on, you don't necessarily have to do it, and you can cut out having to tab out and go into a different program if you just name the dino the stat specifically. Now, some other things to talk about. As you're setting up these breeding piles, make sure you're setting them up and putting them on, obviously, mating, or all the females have to be on mating, and then as well, put them on ignore group whistle and disable ally looking. Those two things are not absolute musts, but you're gonna wish you did, because if some goofball has J whistle attached to their hotbar, or not attached to their hotbar, J whistle bound, and they whistle all, everything's gonna come, and it's not what we like to see. So remove J whistle from your binding, and then make sure that you have the dinosaur set on ignore group whistle. So that way, if someone J whistled, it ain't gonna affect and move that dino that you nicely set up and put there, right? So what you ideally want to do is go out, tame 2 dinosaurs, or not 2, as many dinosaurs as you get your paws on. Ideally, a very high level male with good stats, and then just as many females as you can get your filthy paws on. If you can get some low level breeders, the reason why we do those is they're easy to clone, and on some tames, for example, the velonosaur, which there's many stats that are useful to them. For a turret velo, one of the things that's going to be useful is obviously HP. You don't want the turret to die, right? But for a turret velo, melee is irrelevant because they're all set at 225, if I recall correctly. Correct me in the comments if need be. So leveling melee is not going to be useful unless you hop on it. So 2 other things that could be useful for a turret velo besides HP are going to be stamina, which will allow him or her to shoot longer, which is good. And also, one of the big changes why I started breeding Calicotherium more is, as odd as it sounds, their food. Now, don't go leveling a bunch of other dinosaurs in your base with food. People are going to scream at you. Don't do that. But your turret velo, I would almost recommend, it is a good idea to separate some breeding piles for velonosaur. Okay, this pile we're going to use for mutations, and we're going to try and mutation breed HP. This pile we're going to use for breeding stamina, and we're gonna, specifically look for that. If we get HP, cool, awesome, sweet. This pile, we're obviously gonna breed for food, and this would be the ideal setup for turret dinos. Now, when you are trying to breed a dino that you're gonna go, or a velo that you're gonna go in grief with, you obviously don't want to have things like food on it. You don't necessarily need it. Just throw some meat in its inventory. It's good to go. So you don't want that food stat, right? So you're going to want to have a couple different breeding piles set up for things like velos. Hence why we look for an extremely low level velonosaur. If you find someone's level 1 velo, that's actually very, very, very valuable. We've got them, and it's a good thing. Now, the reason why you want that is because, let's say if you're like, okay, well, if HP is super useful, Stam is useful, Melee is useful, and Food's useful, well, I'm going to get all 4 of them, and I'm going to ride around in my Ferrari looking hot dog. Well, here's the kicker, bud. You're going to outlevel your dino. And so what happens is, if you have a velo that hatches out at, let's say, 420, because that's just a good number, right? So here comes a velo. It hatches out at 420. So you thought it was a good number. The problem is max level on small tribes is 450. So if the server resets and you have a 455 dino, guess what happens to that dino? It disappears. Guess what happens if you cryo the dino? You can't throw it out anymore. It's literally trash. So you do not want to level past 450 And the reason why that level 1 is useful is because you need to make sure with certain dinos that stats that are getting bred into are being accounted for, and you're not exceeding a level around like 370, 380, 390. Anything past that, if someone says, oh, well, I've got a velo that hatches with 14k or 1400 melee, and I say, well, yeah, what level does it hatch at? Oh, well, it hatches at 421. That's useless to me because I can barely put any levels on it, whereas my one that hatches at 1300 melee and comes out at a level 379, I can get imprint on that, then pump the levels, and it is going to be a killer at like, what, probably 3400 HP, or I'm sorry, melee. So watch your levels on specific dinos like that specifically. Now, other dinos with things like carbon emis, your turtles, the only thing you need on that is HP. So your 0-0s could be extremely high level 0-0s as long as your ratios are lower than 20/20, because then you're still getting a good roll and chance for mutation. So without overcomplicating things and trying to get all breaking out the math and this, that, and the other, just make sure you're breeding with things that are under 20 mutations on both sides. And those things that I mean, obviously, are the females. The male, it really, truly kind of doesn't matter. You want the male to be decked out. Now, so what happens, right, when, let's say, we hatch a Giga, and we only got the melee? Well, for a Giga, the only thing that really, truly matters is gonna be the melee. Of course, having a little bit of HP at birth more is better, you know, period. A one that hatches with this 900 melee and 17,000 HP is not going to be as good as one that hatches with 18.6k HP. But I would only breed your Gigas for melee, obviously, and only level for melee. So things like Gigas and carbon emis and soakers and stuff like that, you can get away with only breeding one stat. Careful though, because you can paint yourself into a corner. I've had very good racers before where we were breeding with 0-0s that just had trash stam. So unfortunately, I could only like gas pedal up to the turrets for a second or two. In the same with some other dinos, like rhinos, for example, I had no stam. So like, sure, I had like more melee than anyone out there on the battlefield, but like my guy gassed out like super fast. So it almost made the melee irrelevant, so to speak, because I couldn't get my full charge up. So there is things like that to keep in mind. So you're gonna have to be doing a little bit of seesawing back and forth. But during your color events, what you really want to be doing is getting out there and breeding as many low-level, colorful females, well, colorful if you want the colors, as you can possibly get your paws on. And it really is easy. Just set up your breeding piles and breed for a specific one. If you paint yourself into a corner, like I mentioned, it's okay. Just make sure that it's the male that has all the good stats. So what happens when you get a female that has the good stats? Well, obviously keep her, feed her, and grow her, and then put her into your breeding pile as well. Now, some other kickers, and I kind of touched on it a little bit when I was talking about the velonosaur. What you don't want to do is have only 0-0 females out there to breed with, because what's going to happen with that is there's a good chance that the guy that goes, okay, I need to breed some rhinos today because I'm out of rhinos. I lost 10 in our fob last night, and la. I'm out of rhinos. 10's a bit excessive, but let's just use 10 for the sake of the story. And he goes to breed, and he's breeding with only 0-0s. So let's say he gets there's 50 rhinos, and he gets 10 of them that have the melee, and only 2 of them have the melee and the HP and enough stam for it to be adequate on the battlefield. Well, he's kind of painted himself in the corner. So what you want to do is have a huge breeding pile. Some 0-0s, and then others you want to have them set to where you're going to get guaranteed stats. Now, if I have a rhino with, let's say, 14k HP, just spitting out a number, and it's a male, and I breed it with a female that has 14k HP, guaranteed 100% I'm going to get 14k or more HP on that rhino. If I get a mutation, cool. If not, whatever. I got the 14k I needed. Whatever stats are matching, you're going to get a guarantee of. Otherwise, you're going to have a chance of picking up the lower stat. That's not necessarily something that you want. Don't overcomplicate it. You got this. Keep breeding and keep the ones you're unsure of, and others can guide you through. If something is not covered in this and I'm completely missing something, add it in the comments and I will try and help you out as best as possible in the comment section. I am human. I am going to overlook some things, and I'm going to work with you as best as possible and try and get this to where it is helpful for you. Now, I did mention Ark Smart Breeder. It is a little bit complicated to set up, and I'll hunt around on YouTube after I finish this recording, and I will see if there is a good video by someone that shows you how to set that up. Right. If there isn't, I'll help you. Okay. So there's that. Anyways, guys, I hope this video was awesome, and hopefully gave you some insight and understanding a little bit. And like I said, if you need any, if you've got any questions, shoot me a comment in the comment section of the video, and I'll try and help out. If not, I know that there's a lot of helpful commenters that have been showing up, and I thank you guys for that. Good gosh, for an Ark Small Tribes YouTube, we probably have the chillest viewers, period. Like, there's no toxicity, basically, and for that, I love you guys. Anyways, cheers, y'all. Take care. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe.
In the wrong way, but it was just